Welcome to Just Beachy with Deb
and Wendy.
Growing up in the 70s in our Toronto Beach neighborhood was a time unlike any other. Bell-bottom pants, high handlebars and banana seats, water buffalo sandals, crazy adventures, and home with the streetlights. We have lots of stories to share.
So sit back and join us as we reminisce about the people and the times that shaped our lives.
Hello and welcome back. Did you miss us? Here we are with episode 5 of Just Beachy. I'm Deb.
I'm Wendy.
You should know that by now, but we want to clarify. Listening back to the quiz edition, sometimes it was hard to know who was who.
Oh, that was so much fun. Oh my God. I don't think I've laughed that much in such a long time.
I hope everybody out there enjoyed it too. Now we're back to normal.
Yeah. No yippies, no nothing.
No yippies.
And maybe I overused it a little bit in that episode, but it was so much fun. Yippee! Yeah.
It was fun. And we want to thank Amy,
yes.
Wendy's daughter, who was the quiz master. I think I misspelled it, extraordinaire in the credits, but she was funny. Just she seemed so deadpan. And then when she started with the Thunderdome thing, I thought, oh my God, she's my niece.
Yeah, she was hilarious. She's
got the genes.
Yeah, I think so. You think so? I don't know. Maybe a little bit of that in there. But yeah, the hamster definitely came out. That was great. It was so much fun.
It's true.
Yeah, and as Deb said, I hope you guys laughed as much as we did during it because it was so much fun.
Yeah, we know a couple of people did.
Yeah, so hopefully we can see more comments of people playing along and how well they did. So yeah, so much fun. Yippee! We definitely will do something again like that down the road. We just haven't figured out what yet, but we'll get there.
Well, and I'll have to study my musical.
Oh, yes, the Macarena. Look that one up. And it was actually 1995 when that song came out, so a couple decades off. That's okay.
Just a couple of decades off. You know, the mind plays tricks when you get to my age because I am the older sister, so.
Maybe had it been a musical clue, you would have got it, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I never did a line dance to the hustle. I went to the clubs. I was dancing, but we didn't do a line dance to it. We just hustled. We just, we would do conga lines at weddings, but I don't remember a line dancing because I'm uncoordinated. I cannot do a line dance.
I'm not even sure how long of a phase the hustle was, to tell you the truth. I think I was in grade 8.
Song.
Yeah, it was. But, if you ever see the solid gold dancers do it, I don't think so. I don't know.
All these cheesy bits and pieces from the past come up with people wearing lemon yellow pantsuits and feathers and are just absolutely serious. Alicia Bridges, I shared a piece of her I Love the Nightlife. I never knew she was white. And she's also gay. Ta-da! Who knew? But she wrote the song with her girlfriend, and they wanted to cash in on the disco phase. I love that song. It's on my playlist now. I listen to it almost every week.
And it's probably her only song she ever released, I bet, too, right?
I couldn't name any others.
No.
She did well with that one.
One-hit wonder.
All you need is one. You just need one, and you live on it forever. It's like White Christmas. That's made $1 billion, I'm sure.
Oh.
But in the clip, these guys in lime green pantsuits are dancing all around her. And that was just normal.
Yeah. And we didn't think anything of it at the time. It was normal.
It was normal. I think of my wardrobe back then with the purple pantsuit that I wore every day. Remember that one?
Purple polyester pantsuit.
John Travolta's girlfriend.
Oh my God, I can see it now.
Oh, geez. Yeah. It was a colorful era.
Definitely.
Well, we both worked at Reitman's too, women's clothing store. And so we were fashionable.
We were.
Most of my paycheck went to buying Reitman's finest of threads, you know.
Oh, and if you bought something, they cashed your check. So you always bought something, so you'd get your check cashed and have money in your hand. Yeah. I think I started when I was 15 years old at Reitman's at the Shoppers World, Danforth. I think my hourly rate was $2.75 an hour.
Yeah, it was about that.
Yeah. Well, you're that much older than me, so you probably made less when you worked there.
I did start at $2.20 an hour.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I went to $2.40. I know.
Man.
Yeah.
And you could buy things.
It's true. And have change.
Yeah. What can you buy for $2.40 now?
Can't even buy a coffee for that.
No. Or just.
Yeah. It's small coffee.
Yeah. It's crazy when you think about it.
I know.
And then thinking about this time of year now, back to school, like already next week. X ends on Tuesday. Everyone, even workplace, everything will return to normal next week, the hustle and the bustle. But going back to school, and I remember the going back to school shopping was always so exciting. It was like an event, right?
That's right. Yeah. We'd get all our pens and our pencils and our notebooks and a new locker.
Our Laurentian pencil crayons that you can't buy anymore. We'd go to Randall's at the top of our street, which was Kingston Road and Scarborough Road, and get all our stationery from there, and then get the one new outfit to start the school year with. Could have been fall clothes back then. Now you have to still dress for summer now.
Into the browns and rusts.
Yeah. But, it wasn't unusual to have to wear a jacket on the first day of school.
That's true. It got really cold. It just that snap in the air, right? And we'd have our fall sweaters on.
Yeah.
And now we don't really even think about that too much until, Halloween can get kind of snowy.
Yeah.
But
it can be hit and miss. You never know what it's going to be once, Thanksgiving comes and goes. So. But yeah, just the anticipation. I mean, I kind of miss those days of, for me, elementary school. I think we knew back then who our school teacher was going to be.
For the next year?
It was written in the report card, so you always knew. And what seat you were going to be assigned. And then in high school, it was getting your locker assigned and your schedule to see then who your teachers were going to be.
Yeah, because you'd have a whole roster.
But yeah, I love just kind of probably appreciated more going back to high school just to see how everyone had changed over the summer, especially the boys, And I think, throughout the years, having the reunions to go back to is really, kind of helped you keep in contact or reconnect with people that you didn't know back then, right?
Yeah. And Facebook too.
Yes.
I mean, there are people that I didn't hang out with at Malvern. We were, just ran in different circles back then. And now we're good friends on Facebook.
I think we talked about in a previous podcast about how all your teachers adored you. And then by the time I got there, a little bit after you.
I broke them in for you. What are you talking about?
Well, there was one certain English teacher that...
shall not be named.
No.
But I know who you mean. And anybody that went to Malvern knows of the short English teacher that we're speaking.
She just loved Deb. And anything I did, she did not believe I did on my own. She always thought Deb had a hand in it. And she failed me by 1%. In the final term of grade 13, and I had to go to summer school to get that. That's the only one credit I needed in grade 13. And she failed me by 1%. So I went to Yonge and Eglinton because that's where I had to go to summer school. I went the first day and went, no, I don't think so. And then when I think of going to Balmy Beach, I can remember, I think it would have been 1970, so I can talk about this incident. I was in grade 3, and I hated my teacher, Mr. Pratt. I will say his name out loud. And I had a girlfriend down the street, Kathy, who unfortunately passed away at the age of 11, very young. She was a couple of years younger than I was. But for some reason, we decided we were going to start playing hooky. I don't know why, because I think she liked her teacher. So maybe I was a bad influence. I don't know. But yeah, her parents worked. So there's no one at her home during the day. And we would sit there and watch General Hospital in the afternoon. But I can remember one day, I think we were taking the whole day to play hooky. Her dad came home at lunch. And we were sitting on the couch, which was in front of the bay window. And we quickly jumped over to the couch and hid behind the couch and the window.
It sounds like a sitcom.
I know, right? Well, and we just had these panic looks on our faces and had to keep as still as church mice and not move. And he came home and had lunch. And I think he was there probably like a half hour or more. And then he finally left. So I think maybe that scared us from stopping playing hooky. But then one night, the whole telephone rang. And our mom answered the phone. And I just knew by how she was answering that.
I can hear her.
Uh-oh. And so she hangs up and yeah, she lit into me, just yelling, nothing else. But, and it was Kathy's mother, Mrs. Kellenich, calling to report because her teacher had called them saying, is Kathy okay? Because she's never at school. I used to write the notes, right? I did the handwritten notes.
You forged the mother's signatures.
Exactly. And then I can remember being sent to her at my room and then Dad coming up later. And I think he brought me a glass of milk and a couple cookies because he felt bad for me.
That would be Dad.
That would be Dad. And then probably a month or two later, I actually was sick and I forgot to bring a note. And Mr. Pratt called me out in class and saying, "What, were you playing hooky again?" And all the kids kind of went, "Oh," and I just felt like 2 inches tall. It was awful.
You truant. Oh. Yeah, that was kind of abusive.
Yeah. Back to school memories. There's so many of them. And, Malvern had great Friday night dances.
Mm-hmm.
They were so much fun. And then you had the smelt derby where everyone would go down to the beach.
That is a memory, boy. Everybody would break into teams, usually in the classes. And you would haul in as many of the little suckers because they're coming to make babies. I don't know what they're doing. They're laying eggs. We probably interrupted their cycle, but there were literally thousands.
And it stunk.
Oh God, because they would die. You'd come to the beach and they'd die. And so we'd be like up to our knees in water and hauling out these things in pail and putting them into nets or whatever and get them weighed to see who got the most. And some of us would take them home, and I know Mom looked forward to it because she liked smelts. So she would clean them and we'd eat them. Back then it wasn't a problem with the lake.
I think I blocked that out of my memory because I do not remember
she would
that.
Put flour on them and put them in butter and fry those suckers. Take off the tail. But they actually tasted good, and she fried them well. But the other thing that we would do is clean up the beach. Not just the dead fish, but we'd, all the garbage and stuff. So we did a community service as well. That was good. Yeah, that was fun every year.
And then also at Malvern, and I don't know if you did the same thing, you'd go to the football games at our rival Monarch Park because they got you an afternoon out of school. I didn't go to watch football. I just wanted to get out of school.
Well, all my friends were cheerleaders.
Oh, okay.
So I would go with Irving, my pet nothing. I invented a mascot. I was so weird. But his name was Irving, and he had a little beanie, a little Malvern beanie, and I bring him with me. I made him out of soap. Honest to God, why people didn't check my mental health, I don't know. But Irving, he had a column in school newsletter every month. Irving reporting from various sporting events and things, or events from the school.
Did you also have him in different places in the school too?
I would take pictures of him.
Yes. But nobody thought you were weird.
No.
You were creative.
They didn't say anything. Although some of them did give me wide berth when I walked down the hall. Like, let's pretend we're talking. But yeah. And I also wrote a column for the newsletter called Blistered Fingers. And when we wrote it, we were in the typing room, and I was not a very good typist, still not really, but I remember we would mimeograph it, and we'd have to use this pink stuff we called goop.
Mm-hmm.
And Remember that? So I would type out the words to a song, something
Was
that
that
I
on
liked.
that wasn't on a Gestetner. Talk about dating myself.
It could be. It could have been. But
Because the
yeah, we typed
Gestetner
it out.
was like it was on a specialized paper that you would then put on a machine and you'd just crank it.
Yeah.
And paper would come out with whatever was on the paper.
I thought that was a mimeograph.
I knew it when I was in the militia as a Gestetner, but
Could have been. That might have been the brand.
yeah,
Like an IBM,
yeah,
typewriter.
that's
Yeah,
really
that was what it
dating
was.
us.
Oh my God, we're old.
Before a photocopier.
When I went to Ryerson in the end of the 70s, computers, there was no such thing. The computer room was the whole side of the quad. The computer at Ryerson took up a whole side of a building.
Oh my gosh.
And you had to punch holes in, like a hole punch, and then it could read it. We didn't do that because I wasn't in computer sciences, but I was going into journalism. And we had these 80-pound typewriters they weren't that heavy, but they were heavy. They're like 20 pounds. And we used yellow paper, and in between each paper, 3 sheets, we had carbon. So there'd be 3 copies. So we did everything in triplicate. And again, my typing proud. We actually took typing first term, and I was so pathetic that the typing teacher, instead of failing me, which would have been a possibility, we bargained for something. I forget what, because she liked me. Everybody likes me.
What did I say? Was this Melbourne?
No, that was at Ryerson.
Ryerson.
At Ryerson, because a journalist should know how to type, and I would not have made a good secretary. So I think she said, look, if you can get this test, like 80%, copy this piece of paper or something. She said, take all the time you need, like 1 stroke at a time. I'm not going to time you. If you can get it pretty well looking good, then I'll pass you. And I did. Well, it's the only way I passed typing.
It sounds like me. Well, Miss Diamond, she was the typing teacher at Malvern.
Yeah.
But in the later 70s, I was in a militia regiment for 3 years. And one summer I had to go to Petawawa for TQ1 administrative clerk course. So I think I was 17, but drinking in the mess. Drinking London Miss, which was cherry brandy, vodka, and Sprite.
Ooh.
And I drank quite a few. And so the next day, first day of course, I woke up with London fog because I really hadn't drank anything before with alcohol, wasn't feeling the greatest, and had to go do a typing test first thing. And I just could not get it. And I can still remember the master corporal going, okay, Roach, try it again. You'll get there yet. So I just kept at it until I passed.
So typing was not a skill of the Roach girls. Our mother was a nurse, so she didn't have to type. So
no.
Man,
I never did tell Mom that story.
Oh well, there are lots of stories she didn't tell Mom. No. But I didn't even find out till way later myself. When
Some
he had a secret life
better unsaid, for sure. Or Mom never would have let me out of the house again.
No, she wouldn't have. Oh God.
Oh God, Army days.
Yep,
they were fun.
Yeah. Well, they built character.
Yeah, and then some.
You could write a book.
I did actually one summer. I was the chief clerk at my regimental headquarters, and that was the year I didn't go to summer school. So I worked there for the summer, and at the end of the summer, I wrote a little manuscript called Confidential about all the goings on in the armories that summer, and I only gave probably Gestetner did. Gave a few copies out, and my commanding officer got a hold of a copy.
Oh no!
Yeah, I talked my way out of it. I said,
"Do you still have a copy?"
I do. There's nothing really bad in it, but it was just kind of my experience.
Gossip girl.
So yeah, went to the wayside. It's all good.
In these days now with security and privacy and all that kind of thing, it wouldn't even have crossed your mind. But back then,
it was such a soap opera back in those days, especially from the eyes of a 17-year-old or 18-year-old. Right?
Oh yeah.
Probably I was 18. Yeah. 18 that
I
summer.
remember you coming back with the food in tubes.
Oh, yeah. The rations.
The rations.
Mm-hmm. With the very old Kit Kats that would be half chocolate and half white because they were so
A little
tempting.
cloudy. I think if you're hungry enough, you'd eat it.
Yeah, those are good years.
That was Bloom. It's called Bloom. It wouldn't have hurt you. I would have eaten it.
Oh, I did.
I'm a friend of the chocolate, I am. Oh, you've lived such a colorful life.
Oh, yes.
Most of which has been hidden until podcast.
It's like, oh, yeah, I did do that. Yeah.
Played hooky.
Okay.
I couldn't get away with anything as the oldest. That's the thing. I was like under the eye of the mother, and I was the trailblazer and the pioneer, and all the pressure was on me. I nearly broke several times, but I do my best to warm up all the teachers for the following who love me, and then they meet everybody and they go, oh.
You're who, sister?
No. There
were some that liked me. It was just that Miss M.
Not so divine. I loved her. She was one of my favorites.
2 of my dogs have decided it's wrestle time. So.
Oh, well, there you go. They're getting a little impatient.
You've been on that long enough. We want attention. Archie and Tilly. I'll say their names out loud because they're annoying.
I loved her. I loved all my English teachers. Before I went into journalism, I had a little conflab with them all because they all adored me and I adored them. And I said, I'm thinking of being an English teacher. And they went, they gave me the look. They went, oh, well, you could do it. You'd be a great English teacher. You'd be absolutely wonderful at it. But don't do it. I like, why? She said, they were saying, it's different from this side when you're actually teaching. There are days when it's wonderful and days when you're going to pull out your hair, and we want better for you. So I said, well, my second choice is to go into journalism. They said, oh, yeah. And I think they thought that that's what they would have done. So
sorry. No, and you were great at being a journalist, and that's what you excelled in because it brought out your artistic, creative side that you're really good at. So you still are.
I'm a journalist. Now I'm a journalist for God.
There we go.
PR for God.
There we go. Exactly.
Yeah, we get to do this, and I get to play and be creative still.
And I get stupid dogs in the background.
I think that's our closing
comment. I think so.
I don't think you have to sing tonight.
No. And we'll just let Archie and Tilly take us out.
Well, thanks for listening to whatever this was. Yeah. And share your own school memories and your back to school stuff and the smell of, I still get excited when I'm in the department store and it's all the supplies are there. And I think, I've literally got about 30 Hilroy empty. Because I can't resist. They're 10 cents. I'm going to buy them.
Well, that's the thing. You had your list, right? Like Laurentian pencil crayons. That was a must. A new pencil case. The Hilroy books, binders. It was just always so exciting to go and do that shopping. And you probably had stuff left over from the year before, but you had to go out and buy new anyways.
And I went through my peacock blue pen.
Oh, yes.
Phase.
Yep.
I wrote everything in peacock blue. It was great. I loved it.
I mean, who would want to?
Pens. I discovered fountain pens. I still write with fountain pens sometimes, just because. Anyway, we have had a wonderful time. I've enjoyed reminiscing and learning new things about my sister.
And if you haven't listened to our quiz yet and our special edition podcast, please go to our Facebook page and you will find it there.
We will talk to you again very soon. Thanks for listening to Just Beachy.
With Wendy and Deb and Deb and Wendy and Archie and Tilly, who are annoying.
We'll see you again soon. Bye.